I don't think I've ever seen a Nintendo product that is as close to a hate crime for its fans as this. Although we got pretty close with the Return of Samus Amiibo back when Metroid 2 Return of Samus kind of came out and unlocked hard mode. But it's almost as much of a hate crime as me not cleaning up the rug around me. There's still some pine needles from Christmas and all that, and I gotta, like, get a new vacuum, so that's been fun. Besides all the personal stuff with a new computer and whatnot, the Prime 4 video might be coming out around the same time, or not. This might come out before. I don't know. I know I gotta link it at the end of this, because I have a lot to say about this. And, it's not good. It's not good. Now, I will preface this by saying that I actually traded in some extra controllers for this. I used a gift card I had for a while, for both GameStop and for Target. I got this one at Target. This was at GameStop, and then I got this at GameStop again when I traded in my 2 controllers. So I just want to be very clear in saying I would not have gotten these on any other normal circumstance, unless, of course, I had a YouTube channel and I really wanted to... Actually, I didn't even talk about these too extensively in the channel. No, let me retract that statement. I complain, but I do not show really any footage in regards to these, just because these are such an abomination to marketing. And this is how Nintendo is legally, and I'm putting air quotes here, legally getting around the $100 game thing. They're pulling an Apple when it comes to this. For example, we'll start with this one. We'll start with the Viola one, because it's the prettiest one, and I think it has, like, the least egregious sin when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because obviously it looks cool. Like, if this was the only Amiibo released for this, I really think that it wouldn't have been bad, all things considered. It's the new suit, the new bike. The only problem I truly have with it is, 1, the price point, and 2, I think this is the one that unlocks the Viola radio. So for those of you who don't know, it locks the radio. You can unlock the 2 tracks after you 100% the game, but the only problem with this at that point then is just, well, guess what? You need the Amiibo to unlock the radio. You don't get the 2 songs, and I talk about that. You get the 2 songs, but you can't use them. And I talk about that in the episode. Look, man, for $40, this ain't great. Like, there's no artwork on the back, so collectors don't really care about this as much. And I mean, like, okay, let me track that. I care about it as a collector, but not because, I keep things in the box. I'm talking about the people who keep things in the box. Like, there are Amiibo collectors who are diehard, like pre-Skylanders era guys who are foaming at the mouth for a Nintendo figure like this. And there are people who do the Nintendo stuff. Like, that is not what I'm not trying to say. But this, it's well detailed. I could already tell from the box, so let's get a close-up on this. And you know what? That's fine. The detail for it, it's pretty vague. You don't have Virmos. I really expected a desert background and stuff, but the stars are nice. And everything else kind of has that starry-ish, background and stuff. What I really don't like is that the detail is, it's nice detail, but it's not nice enough detail for the price. I'm sorry. Like, for the amount that I paid for all of these in total, I could have gotten something from First 4 Figures, which, they're expensive, but they're very detailed, and they're like limited run games where the, the stuff takes forever to get to you, but, limited run games figures, there's a special episode I've been waiting to do, for a little bit. But, let's open this up, because, preservation purpose-wise, there's nothing here. Yeah, alright. I wonder if Nintendo just has, like, a vault of all the Amiibos and stuff with all the background stuff, right? Because, like, actually, you know what? This did have a background to it that you can't really entirely see, I guess. But, like, I'm pretty sure you could find this, like, anywhere. And, heck, it's not even complete. Oh, maybe that's Virmos. Or it's just some random white space and I'm overthinking this. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is the planet Virmos? down here, this little white space, and it's just, I don't know. But that aside, Viola, the bike itself, and I talk about this in the episode, it just doesn't even feel like a good bike, quite literally. And you have to charge it, and it's like, why were I don't even remember the name of the species as of making this. I don't even remember, but like, why were they making these bikes, right? Like what was the point of this? I know they're trying to set up for a new trilogy, and this is already going to be the black sheep of the trilogy. I guarantee you they're going to do like a Toy Story to Toy Story 2, where the second one is clearly better than the first, but the first one was, well, okay, in terms of Toy Story, the first one was obviously really good, but, like, you put a surfboard on this? Like, I'm sorry, like, anyone remember the, Amiibo with, what was it, Breath of the Wild with the, oh god, it's not the Watcher, what? Wow, it's been so long, I actually can't remember off the top of my head. The Guardians. The Guardians and how it had, like, the claw and stuff, and then you had the 8-bit link. Like, those Amiibos feel great. This just has, like, a finicky, like, weirdly textured, like, ew. I don't like the feel of that. I'm gonna be honest. It's like that Doom controller I opened a while back. I didn't like the feel of it. But there's, like, nothing in that desert except a bunch of rocks. Like, what, you couldn't add, like, the one time you don't want to add a green crystal to this, and you mean to tell me, like, there's just this weird lump over here, and you couldn't add, like, a rock or something? For $40, you know, plastic, I hate to tell you, plastic-wise, this doesn't cost much, the NFC doesn't cost much, it's just Nintendo trying to recuperate losses. Like, plastic has never been a hard commodity to come by, right? You can always make more plastic things, but, like, I don't know, look, look at the detail between this Samus and that Samus. And I don't want to hear anyone talk about, like, the different suits or stuff. I'm talking about, like, the times, right? Like all in all, everything considered, I'm sorry, in most instances, this is better. And it's scary. Like, and then I have and we'll do this with the various suit as well. I have a figure that was like $5, right? That I opened a while back. I think I did it for this channel. But, like, even then the detail is still, like, close to or on par. But you mean to tell me that this cost me $5 and this cost me $40 and it has, like, a small NFC chip in here? Get out of here. Like, that to me is just, like, you know, like, at that point, I'm going to be honest, I really am just going to buy the cards from now on. Like, I just go on Amazon, go on eBay, go to whoever's making the cards, and buy the cards because I'm not getting any value for these, right? Like, you know, like, if it was, like, I don't know, like maybe double missile expansion, a fusion mode. Like, at least the fusion mode with this Samus Returns amiibo, which, by the way, shout out to the zombie amiibo guy, who I see at, like, every convention. I don't have his links. I will try and remember to link this down below. This is one of those things where I don't edit a lot. I just put music in. Yeah, this, dude, like, I'm sorry, like, the detail on this compared to this is it's so much better. It in my opinion. And mind you, half of this is melted, but, like, you could even see on the back of Samus over here and the back of Samus over here. Like, I'm sorry, like, also, they're plastic molds, so when you think about it, these go on a factory line. You bring them out, and then they're printed. You just need a mold. It doesn't, at that point, it's just the mold, the paint, and it's all automatic, too. Like, they just put it on a factory line. Like, that, I'm sorry, like, it's not a lengthy, you know, process. And I guarantee you this is made in China, where everything in this world is cheap. And you can claim tariffs, and that's not, like, the worst argument to have. But then again, it's, like, plastic. And if we're really going the tariff route, if Nintendo just made a factory here, it might be better. I'm not saying, like, my question is, like, why wouldn't they have a factory over here knowing how volatile the current state of politics are? That's just me. I mean, they have stores. They opened a San Francisco store. Might as well open, like a small one-off amiibo factory, or just one amiibo factory to offset everything. I don't know. But that's beside the point. Let's talk Psylocke. Probably the dumbest thing in the game, outside of the glitch that I experienced at the end, was this dude's inclusion. First of all, I didn't really see him, like, take part in that blast, only Samus, right? And if that's the case, and if he was truly in range of that, where did the other scientists go? I don't think anyone's ever mentioned that, but, like, you had, like, the few militarant people from, you know, Virmos and whatnot, but, like, you only get, like, the handful of people. But that was, like, a room full of people because they were trying to get that MacGuffin out. Which, do we even know the name of that? I actually don't know. But, Sylux as a whole, like, the only good part was, like, the ending where it was genuinely a Metroid Prime Hunters kind of, like, fight. And they even had, I think, one of the songs from it playing, if I'm not mistaken. The whole game was a blur. I played it a while back. I had the script written. I had the video for the most part. I had to sift through hours of me going through freaking rocks because I went in blind. If I had watched IGN's review, I kid you not, which I don't watch IGN's review, but I watched afterwards just because I wanted to see what they said. I really did. And it's just another instance of IGN pandering to Nintendo. They're doing the same thing the Game Awards did, you know, with, like, Donkey Kong. And I mean, like, all right, fine, Nintendo's there. They earned, like, their one award for the year. Okay. They haven't done anything good in so long, and I really do think we're due for a direct of something, because what do they have? Like, Prime 4 was supposed to be their big winter game, and it bombed so hard because they didn't want to put it through more development hell. And I can respect that decision. I truly can respect that decision. But for the love of God, if the game isn't good, put it on the back burner again. Do you know how much I would have loved to... And mind you, like, there's an animator I follow on Instagram who did most of the stuff for, like, Prime 4. And it's actually really good. The animation itself, fantastic. Whoever the story writers are, well, they need to be fired too. I'm sorry, just... The writing is definitely for a time of cheesy Avenger stuff. Like, I think in the end, they even say the, he's right behind you or behind you dialogue, where I'm just like, really? Like, really? Like, you know... yeah, actually, when they're all on the bridge, and they're all fighting the... Grievers. I almost said Greepers, but, yeah, the Grievers. I'm like, dude, but this guy never shows up. He's not seen as a threat, and even then, when he does show up, the only time that I think he might have been real outside of the final boss was, like, when you're in the flare pool area, and he's in that ship, but that doesn't even lead into a boss fight, so that does absolutely nothing. It leads into, you fight the ship, and that's it. He leaves, so it's like... You know, whatever. And then was he just healing in that pod all the way through to the final boss? Which, I mean, the game isn't even that long anyway. Like, for anyone wondering, the game is maybe 4 hours at most if you're not trying for 100%. I didn't even get 100% because I can't find the damn rocks. I've combed that desert countless times. I can't find I have one sliver of rocks left to get the, like, light blue of all of whatever, and I don't even know what you get after that. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, you do, and it's a whole lot of nothing, basically. The only power-up you get that's worth it is, like, the double damage boost, which I think you get after, like, 50 or 60%. This guy just doesn't show up, so, like, the fact that this individual, like, only appears, like, partially through the game, and he unlocks, I think he, like, it doesn't even tell you what he unlocks. If I remember correctly, this is hard mode. If you didn't beat the story, and just some extras in the gallery, which in and of itself is like, okay, like we're really stretching it thin here, and that to me is kind of atrocious. It really is. You know, like, oh no, one of the secret not endings, but I think one of the things that actually talks a bit more of Sylux and what he's been doing or whatever is locked behind this amiibo. Because I remember watching something that I didn't unlock, and I was like, what is this? And then I can't get behind this. I've complained so much, I haven't even opened the dang thing. Again, space background, all that other stuff. And again, the artwork, I will say, for all intents and purposes, just to appreciate the people who actually did the artwork for Sylux and stuff. I will say him being in the modern age is quite nice, and I feel like after Dark Samus, there was a void that needed to be filled. I don't think it belonged to Silux. I really don't think it should have belonged to Silux. I'm gonna be honest. Out of all the bounty hunters, I don't think Silux was the guy. I really don't think Silux was the guy. Bit of a spoiler for the end of the game. I just realized. Like, take a look at that. That is a Federation soldier, like, helmet. Look at that. Huh. So, yeah. And there's gonna be spoilers in here, by the way. I don't really care that much. The game isn't that long. But he assumably gets rid of everyone. I doubt it, because it's a Metroid game that seems to be appealing to a very odd crowd. A very odd crowd. I will say it's not a crowd that I really care to be in. It's just Metroid always was Samus, because of everything that happened in this game that shows that Samus should just be alone. Everything that Other M did, this did it worse. I can't believe that this game did it worse than Other M. Not because of the power stuff, even though locking behind Samus's powers behind another NPC is egregious. Why would you do that? Didn't you learn the lesson the first time, Retro, from Team Ninja? I mean, like, at least it had the cinematics going for it, right? Like, the motion capture. There was a point in the beginning with Miles McKenzie where I was able to see some, like, clipping with his armor. It's very subtle, and only, like, a keen eye can see it, which, again, I might be nitpicking here. But it's not like I have much to nitpick about this Amiibo, because it looks good. I wish I could say that this... I don't even, like, this isn't cool just because, it doesn't do anything cool. It just looks good on the shelf. Like, that's it. There's nothing here. I mean, I will say, the fibers in his leg are nice. That is an extra layer of detail that I don't think you see in a lot of other Amiibo. So, like, points to them for kind of getting that fibrous kind of feel, I guess. But other than that, the helmet looks cheap, too. That's my thing. The helmet looks cheap. I don't even know... I don't know. An overall stance on this Amiibo is it looks good, does absolutely nothing. Which, again, is, I guess, most Amiibo, now that I think about it. But it's like, you gotta give people... You're charging $30 for these. And even GameStop is, throwing... Like, I got the Zelda ones for half price when they were, like, at a fairly normal-ish price. But then they were going to $6. Because even GameStop doesn't want them. And you know how bad it is that GameStop does not want your products? They'll take anything. Like, look at how many Funko Pops they have on the wall. You mean to tell me that they want to sell these to you, premium Nintendo products, for $6 because they're willing to take the loss just because no one's freaking buying them? Absolutely insane. And I mean that wholeheartedly as someone who does love Nintendo. But I'm not going to be your, Nintendine or John Meebo here and be like, oh, this is great. Like, what? No. Nintendo has always been really good when they're desperate. Remember when they worked with Skylanders? Remember, Nintendo will not work with anyone when they're not at their, like, lowest. If their back is not against the wall, they will not work with anyone. And that, to me, is kind of ridiculous, because it's like, you really, if you just gave it to Retro the first time, you might have actually had something there. But then, like, it was in 7 years of development hell. And then on top of that, people are like, oh, well, they scrapped it completely. Like, let me tell you a little something about game development, too. When you scrap a project, right, like scrapped a project, you usually keep a lot of assets. When they say scrap a project, and again, they might have actually done it from scratch, which would have been a lot worse. Samus, you would keep the model of Samus, the rig, everything, okay. You would keep concept art to kind of veer off into something what you might want to do. You'll keep enemy models that you might or might not want to keep, I'm assuming just because of how reused the Grievers were. It probably wasn't a lot of enemies that, they didn't, keep. But like Silux, Silux, obviously, they've had that forever. Ever since Prime 3 and Prime Hunters, and I'm sure they've had a high-res model, at least over at Nintendo, that, was kept up in the vault and stuff, and it just, I don't know. And I mean, again, this is speculative and stuff, and we're probably going to hear more now. And I say in my video the opposite, actually, that we're not going to hear more, but we've been hearing more as of recently, that they didn't want to push development back anymore. And I had waited for this game for 18 years. I don't think people understand Because I played Metroid Prime 3 all the way back in the day. And then, you know, I lost my save data and stuff, but, like, I got the Prime Trilogy, played Prime 1 again with motion controls, loved the heck out of it, played Prime 1 Remaster on the Switch, loved it, wanted to play the second and third one again. I don't remember, much about the second one. I remember, because I never had it on GameCube. I had the bonus disc that talked about it. But people say it's the hardest one, and I remember it having a link to the past kind of thing, where you got the light world, the dark world, the light beam, dark beam, and then, you know, and I remember liking that. I probably don't like the backtracking. I think that was my big thing, was just I didn't like the backtracking too much, because a lot of it could have been seen as pointless. But then again, it's also a GameCube game. You gotta realize it's also a GameCube game, so there's not a lot of data on that disc, so they did a lot of stuff with, like, Prime 1 on that tiny little disc. I really, you know... And then, they fired that CEO, and I'm going off a bit on a tangent here, but it you know, it brought me to an idea of, like, going over, quote, Gooner games, which was, like, you know, one of the games that was, what was it? I forget the name of it, but it was banned for very terrible reasons that I can't, and I won't talk about on this video. But the CEO of that went on to make a game that had someone who was underage in it with something. The Guy game, that's what it was called. It was a very terrible thing. But then we got Metroid Prime out of that. So they fired the bad guy. And we got one of the best games of all time out of that. Because Retro was desperate to please Nintendo. Which a lot of people seem to be eager to please Nintendo. Just look at Jeff Keighley. So, it's like... Sorry. I love the Game Awards, but man, it's very obvious with the Sonic stuff that it's just really bad. But back to Metroid. Metroid Prime 4 wasn't up for any award either at Game Awards. The sales declined like 15% after like the first week, so that momentum was just going up, and then just 15%. Not good. Nintendo stock isn't doing that great right now. I'm still a shareholder in Nintendo. I'm really hoping for get Sakurai, your last good developer, to make something great again, but, you know, like Smash Brothers or Kid Icarus, please give us Kid Icarus over Smash Brothers. I'm so sorry. Like, Ultimate's great, and I'm pretty sure he would do something like a Smash 7, which is just Smash Brothers Tenkaichi. I don't know. But, man, that was a long tangent. The Various suit. Now, this is where I'm going to pull the other figures out, just because this is kind of like a big contingent. Wow, I really got to vacuum this carpet. It's been a while. The Various suit, I'm going to be honest, in Prime 4 is not in there for a long time. It is in there for maybe, I think I have like an hour and a half of footage of me in the Various suit. You do not keep this suit long. Versus the other games where you get a lot more upgrades, and then you get the 3 suit upgrades. The Viola one? Dude, like, there's a Viola suit upgrade where you get, like, I think it was, I'm trying to remember now. You get, so you could do it, to have the hover bike thing. It is not in there long, and it doesn't even look different. You get 2 Viola suit upgrades, and then you get the fake light suit. It just didn't... It didn't sit right with me. I'm sorry. You're supposed to get 3 genuine upgrades here. You know, you have the Various suit, the Gravity suit, you know, and then it just goes on from that. And I'm just like, dude, the Various suit didn't stay in long. And correct me if I'm wrong. And maybe this is just because I'm a Metroid fanatic, of course. You know, because it's like one of Nintendo's best franchises, because they take everything from Aliens, which is a great franchise that I love. And then they took stuff from Star Wars, like with the psychic little, you know, the little bindi on top of her head. For those of you who don't know, bindi is like the little gem in Hinduism. If you see an Indian, you know, individual walk around with a gem on their head, that's what it's called, culturally speaking. Yeah, it just, dude, I can't even talk. Like, it looks pretty. And that's it. I'm so serious. The purple highlights in here are not really a saving grace, considering the green visor has always been kind of a staple. And even then, like, there's varying degrees of the figures and such. And I'm gonna be honest, like, this it doesn't cut it for me, Chief. I'm sorry. Like, this, like, in terms of quality, it's not, it's slightly better than this one. I really should have not used the zombie amiibo one for this, but I wanted to shout out an artist, so give the zombie amiibo guy love. You can find him on the internet. It's not that hard to find. But, like, in terms of detail, it's not $30, bro. Like, you perfected plastic. Congratulations. Like, you know, I feel like it's not that far of a long way from this to this. This was kind of a middle ground, but, like, $30 and all this does is, like, refill ammunition, unlock some artwork, and I think it does the same thing as the Psylocke and gives you a hard mode if you want. The only time I was ever close to using one of the amiibos, too, believe it or not, was actually in the final boss. If you look back at my footage too, like, I am eerily low on the health, but it was because of this one section where you jumping over this. No, sorry. After you jump over a few of the wave things, he then does a continuous shot, and what you actually need to do is use your psychic beam that I never freaking used. I have used it maybe like a handful of times. And if I had just remembered to use the stupid psychic beam, where you slow down time for some reason, I would have been fine. I wouldn't have had my health that low. But, like, that's the thing. I didn't use any of the like, outside of the standard, like, Metroid fare, I didn't use the psychic beam that much outside of maybe that one plant boss that I barely talked about because it just kind of ripped off Prime 1's plant boss now that I think about it. I don't know. Let's open this up, though. And again, love the art, so respect to the artists, 3D modelers, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you did your job. It's just the story writers, you didn't really do their part. The animators did a fantastic job, so props to them. I really would love to just... Dude, why is it on a slant and a rock like this? Like, why is it on the rock? Like, dude, I just... There's something about this whole thing that just doesn't feel right. Like, you were able to fit Samus on this with the high heels before, and now... actually, that's another thing. Samus has boots now instead of high heels. I don't know. Like, dude, what do you guys think about this? Like, truly think about this. I'm gonna be honest, like, the detail's nice, and I'm sure it looks great on a wall or something. Okay. But, like, worth this? No. If anything, when I go to conventions now, I might just bring these out of spite to just help people with stuff. I'm not sure. Just because I can't... You know what? Props to Nintendo, actually. Props to them, because you know what? We actually own these, right? Like, we actually can physically own these. And I think that's why they're skirting around the $30 or $100 game thing, and they're skirting around all this other stuff. I just cannot... I can't wrap my head around it. It's so anti-Iwata. It is very much anti-Iwata. It's very anti-Reggie. It goes against a lot of stuff, because the game isn't complete. The DLC was supposed to be meant as downloadable content. It wasn't meant to stray from the main game. You locked music behind an amiibo. Like, that just boggles my mind. You lock the music behind an amiibo. The gallery's locked. The hard mode, I mean, it's kind of locked, but it's not as locked as, like, the fusion mode with this, where you had... Actually, I don't even think it was this one that you got fusion mode. I think it was the Metroid one that you get fusion mode from, and I just have a card for that one, because they haven't reprinted those in God knows how long. And now they go for like 100-something online, and I actually have one in box complete. I was thinking of doing that for another video. You know, a good mental health tip I can give you guys is that, like, if you got a lot of stuff, you want to clear out some clutter. I've been doing that. I've been putting stuff on Facebook Marketplace recently. I'm just selling some games and stuff. Like, I have the whole Shantae series, I think, for like PlayStation. It's like, when am I ever gonna play that? You know? Not that Shantae isn't a great game or anything, it's just not my cup of tea. You know. And all in all, if I really had to say, are these amiibo worth it? Absolutely not. Do not buy these unless you are a psychopath, have the money to spare, or really want to suck up to Nintendo like the... I'm sorry. It's so bad. I do call out John Meebo a lot in that video, and I have a whole point where I just rip part of his shorts, and I know he does it for rage bait, and it's very funny. There's no ill will, there's no true ill will, right? But I find it so funny, because I think it gets to him, because I stitched him something on TikTok, and I was like, oh, he's like, Nintending, and he's like, I didn't think I was as bad as Nintending, that's a new low for me. And I was like, dude, you're not as bad as Nintending, but, like, say something bad about Nintendo. It's not even that, like, he's a Nintendo partner. Guarantee it. He's gotten things donated by Nintendo. I will never get things donated by Nintendo. And that's my thing. Oh, speaking of which, they got a new president. She likes Pikmin. I played Pikmin 1 and started Pikmin 2. I love it. It's going to be one of those games I don't really talk about for the channel, so I got to talk to you guys about it here a little bit. And it's good. It's good. In fact, it was so much better than Metroid Prime 4. I'm going to be honest. I played Pikmin 1. I had a lot more fun than Metroid Prime 4 playing Pikmin 1. And other way around. I had a lot more fun playing Pikmin 1 than Metroid Prime 4. And that's sad. And the thing is, that game was complete, right? It had the 30 days, you got all the crap. I feel like I'm now talking about anything but Metroid. It's not that Metroid can't have NPC characters. I want to make that very clear. I really want to make that very, very clear. Not that Metroid can't have NPC characters. It is simply just the way they go about it. The ones that I liked said the least amount of things. And that speaks volume, because when you have good writing and you have good characters, they don't need to suckle at the teat of Samus Aran. Like the one girl, she was like, oh my god, like, Samus, like, shut up. Why are you here? Like, and like this, I make the Scott the Woz reference, like everyone does. And I wonder if he probably saw it. Would Scott ever work with me? Absolutely not. I'm very brash and I'm very opinionated. Do I love his work? Absolutely. Have I met him? Absolutely. But, like, for something like this, where I'm definitely poking a sleeping bear on this one, he doesn't like conflict. And I could respect that, right? Everyone wants their peace. Some people are fighters, some people aren't. And you know what? That's okay. Me, on the other hand, as a Metroid fan, this just pissed me off. I'm so sorry. 18 years. If I had told myself, like, there's a reason they didn't have a collector's edition for this one, because this game was great. It had a collector's edition. And like, I think it was Mercury Steam that did Metroid Metroid Prime Dread. Or not Metroid Prime Dread. Metroid Dread. Talking myself in corners here. Metroid Dread, fantastic. They took everything they learned from Samus 2, put it to that. Now give us the Fusion remake that they wanted in the first place, because I love Fusion, even though it was linear. Yeah, I really love Fusion. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir on that one. And I know everyone loves the the open world stuff, but here's the thing with the open world stuff. In Metroid Prime 4, there was no open world. Absolutely. I felt I was able to travel on Talon 4 a lot better than Metroid Prime 4. Talon 4 better than Virmos. Just because, are we serious, dude? Like, there's a point where Mackenzie tells you that, like, you can travel anywhere you want. And I went to the big crater in the ground with the giant machine, the thing that's actually in the desert, the only thing that's in the desert. And then it just leads you underground, and that's, like, the second to last portion of the game. And he's like, oh, you can't go there yet, Samus. And I'm like, then what the heck? Metroid is the only game where the game franchise, like Super Metroid, has a randomizer. And it has everything that you can connect back to wherever, so you actually do have, like, an open world in the sense through Metroid emulated randomizers. But this was the golden opportunity to do that. You wanted a Metroid of the Wild so much you added a bike, just like every freaking Nintendo game you had. Zelda, Pokemon, Mario. And you mean to tell me that isn't an open world game mechanic that you can't figure out? The answer was no. And They didn't even add any parts to the biomes, where it's like the biomes kind of seep out into the desert and you have to travel your way into there, which would have been a lot more interesting and would have made backtracking a bigger pain in the ass, though. So I'm glad that it didn't end up like that, but I would have liked to have seen effort. And I think it's not that the developers didn't have effort. I think that Nintendo just pushed this because they had nothing else this holiday. They're really sucking wind with the Switch 2 also because of the RAM prices. They need games. And I'm so sad. They need games. This console has bupkis on it. Like, they have games you can get on Steam. They have games that you could, you know, get on other consoles. Like, you mean to tell me, like, Hogwarts Legacy finally came to the Switch 2? Like, I would find more enjoyment playing it on the Switch 1 just because of how low quality it is, and I would love to laugh at the glitches. That's the kind of gamer I am. That's what a real gamer is, by the way. You know, it's either you go for the high-end stuff or you go for the low-end stuff. There's no, you know, it's like, if you go for that mid stuff, like, I would love to see Doom Eternal on the Switch 1. I would love to get that. I don't have that. I love the Doom franchise, but the point is, the Switch 2, graphically speaking, it has potential. But we had developers with, like, 2 megabytes worth of RAM, and they were making masterpieces in terms of games. This Switch has, like, I think 32 gigs or 16 gigs or whatever. I don't know how much RAM the console has, but all I know is that it's good. And, like, that's it. You know, it's good enough to where it's like, I mean, Samus looked great in the cutscenes. And the rest of the world was okay. Except the desert, which didn't look like anything. That's the whole thing. These Amiibo add absolutely nothing to the game. And that's the thing. I have the review. It's all ready. It's all set. I gotta just do my IRL clips. And then I have to do the music. And then it's good. Right? I didn't need these. At all. I was pissed that I didn't have the radio the entire time. But I wasn't going to sit on my privileged high horse and tell you that, oh, just get the Amiibo. Or, oh, you can just 100% the game and unlock it. Because that's not the case. That was never the case. Maybe they'll patch it in an update. Maybe they'll update something. Maybe they'll give you some kind of value for the game. But outside of that, like, and I'm being so serious, the base of the, like, the Metroid, actually, wow, even these look different slightly. I think they updated the silverish part to this. It's lighter on this. It's very hard to tell just because they covered it with rocks. So, yeah, you don't even get the Metroid sigil. You know, you don't have the screw attack sigil on there. So, I don't know. Am I going crazy? Let me know in the comments. And remember, your mental health tip today, or your health tip in general, is just clear out the damn clutter. I gotta clean this floor just because of all the pine needles still on it. I can't get behind this. And Nintendo, and they did the, oh, right, I didn't even talk about this, because Donkey Kong Bonanza, I got it, just while I'm here. I got Donkey Kong Bonanza. And let me tell you, the fact that you can still unlock everything from the Amiibo later on in the game is fine, right? Like, you know, that's a very good reward. But you're trading time for money. Like, you could, in theory, and again, I'm saying this wholeheartedly because, again, it's like $50 extra to the Amiibo and the DLC that they had beforehand. You could theoretically just buy the Amiibo and not spend hours and hours and hours into the game for that one dress reward. Or, if you want to feel rewarded and not like a sellout, you could do it. But the thing is, it would take so long to do it. Now it's like, okay, do I just spend all the time playing Donkey Kong? Or do I actually just get the thing? And that's the problem I have with this, is that it's not even an option you can unlock 2 tracks. You get the other 3 from this, plus the radio to play it. Imagine if I sold you I sold you 2 CDs, and I didn't have a CD player, and the other 3 songs the other 3 CDs to the whatever, to the album, right? Could you imagine, like, truly imagine that? Like, you know, you buy 2 CDs off of someone, you know they have a CD player, you know they have the rest of the album, but they're only going to sell you 2 CDs. that's essentially the state of modern Nintendo right now, is that they're really doing the Apple method of nickel and diming you, and I don't know. I mean, I might even trade my Pro Controller just towards a Switch 2 Pro Controller, just because it's backwards compatible, for 1. 2, I have an 8-bit DOE controller that hooks up to whatever the heck I want. 3, 8-bit DOE is a really good quality thing. I mean, I'm not sponsored, but, you know, I could be. Granted, I doubt I will get sponsors, just because I'm in it for the love of the game at this point. Yeah, it really is the love of the game, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think the quality of this Amiibo is on par with, like, this, or this? To be honest, I actually think there is a lineup of quality between the first Samus Amiibo and the last. Like, I think there's a genuine quality update here. But the content you get for it isn't there. It's not there at all, and you got little figures like this. Tell you what, you buy, like, a card online, a $5 figure, boom, there's your Amiibo. You put the card under the Amiibo, you pick the card up, you put the figure on the shelf, bada boom, bada bing. That was the most Jersey thing I think I've ever said. Please forgive me. Anyway, my sons, I hope you enjoyed this. Essentially, it's just me bitching for, like, over, an hour, basically, about all of the things in this Amiibo stuff, and just the state of Nintendo. Look, the Amiibos, they look great. They look beautiful, right? And I'm sure people will love them on their shelves. But you can buy a Samus figure from first 4 figures, because this was 30, this was 30, and this was 40. So you mean to tell me $100 and you can't get a better figure from Samus from first 4 figures, or something from Japan, or, you know, whatever? It doesn't sit right with me, and I hope it doesn't sit right with you, because man, oh man, I know when my Prime 4 video comes out, I'm gonna have that 1 or 2 Nintendrones in there, just be like, Nintendo's the greatest company ever, they can do no wrong. If you cannot criticize anyone, any country, any person, anything, for the bullcrap that they do, you've clearly lost the plot. Because I don't see the innovation that Nintendo is known for. Quite literally. I feel like this is extortion at its finest level. And I actually agreed with the price of the console. I was okay with that. I didn't agree with the price of the games, because, 1, Nintendo is always using lesser hardware. They've been using lesser hardware for years. So their games don't need that much in terms of that. And lastly, it just, I hate to say it, but the last great Nintendo developer is Sakurai. Miyamoto's not developing stuff and working on that Mario movie, and then you have well, that's it, I think. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, Iwata was part of the developers teams for the most part, and, you know, he steered everyone, you know, which is weird, by the way, to say, but he was, like, general producer for most of the games, and just, I don't know. Iwata was a one-of-a-kind man. Am I an old fart? Am I really out of touch with this? Or am I just a very cringy, you know, annoyed Metroid fan? And, oh, look at that. I mean, like, okay, you got the detail on the bike over here. That's nice. And then the clear purple. I mean, look, it's not bad, but it's not like this lights up. That's the thing. If this lit up, that'd be kind of cool. But for what you get with these, the skins, the music, the gallery, the potential hard mode, the secret for him being there, I guess, I don't even know. It's not the same as unlocking fusion mode, which people were still pissed about back in the day, but, you know, they needed a reason to sell that to people. Because I think around that time, too, they had, like, that Amiibo stand for, you know, whatever, for the 3DSs that didn't have it, so it was, like, USB wireless, no, I don't know, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Again, thank you all for watching and listening to me complain for probably an hour. Okay.